What's going on, you guys? It's Ron here with your second stimulus check update and stimulus package update. It's a super late one, but I had to get it in. There was just so much that came out today. I don't even think anyone's awake right now, but if you're up, definitely drop me a comment below. Let me know that you're up. This is your stimulus check update and stimulus package update. And on this historic day, Joe Biden has already signed off on 17 executive orders, and this is only his first day in the office, and he's already getting to work.
The state of the nation today is no time to waste. Get to work immediately. As we've indicated earlier, we're going to be signing a number of executive orders over the next several days to week. And I'm going to start today. The compounding crisis of COVID, COVID-19, along with the economic crisis following that, and climate crisis, racial equity issues. And the first order I'm going to be signing here relates to COVID, and it's requiring, as I said all along, where I have authority, mandating masks be worn, social distancing be kept on federal property, on interstate commerce, etc. So this is the first one I'm signing.
And if you've been hanging out with me during this entire ordeal, then you already knew that today would be a busy one. So I hope I didn't let you guys down. And also, suggestions on upgrading the stimulus checks from $1,400 to $2,000 stimulus checks. What exactly do we know about that? And the argument that is coming from the newly appointed Federal Reserve Chair on larger stimulus checks that could actually be a game changer. What is going on, you guys? It's Ron here with your second stimulus check update and stimulus package update and related news on this one. Hey, it's another late one, but I'm here, and I hope you guys are doing very well. It was incredibly busy today. It was a historic day. I spent a lot of time actually watching the inauguration, and I kind of enjoyed it, and before, this whole pandemic, I never really watched that sort of thing. So, this was actually a first for me. So anyway, we're back on course with another video here. We've got the stimulus package and related news and updates and stuff like that I wanted to get you guys up to speed on. And what exactly happened today and what we can expect in the coming days. So first off, we've got a brand new president, so that's new. And today is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's inauguration day. So, hey, comment below if you guys had a chance to check out any of the inauguration, earlier today. And, what did you guys think about, J-Lo, Lady Gaga, Garth Brooks's performance today? I would love to hear from you guys. Like I said, I've never actually watched an inauguration before. This was actually my first one. But, regardless of whether or not you supported Biden or not, I felt that the ceremony was very nice. It was really nice seeing different nationalities and key roles during the inauguration. That was very refreshing to see. And, plus many of the previous Republican and Democratic presidents were all seated together. I mean, to me, that was a testament to the progress that has been made in our country. And, hopefully a very positive sign of more unity and healing to come. And if you're wondering as to what we can expect from Biden's first day as the president of the United States, well, look no further. I got you guys as usual, right? And today I'm going to share with you guys what all those 17 executive orders are. And I'm telling you guys that you don't want to miss out on this. And also a few days from now, on Friday to be specific, hopefully we'll be hearing from the Senate once again because they'll be back in session. And I'll tell you everything that we know about that. So what this could mean for Congress, that's number one. And number two, what are their priorities once they get back together again? And we've also got news on Janet Yellen's recent statements. Now, this has actually been the talk of the town since yesterday. So if you haven't heard about it, you're gonna want to stick around for that one. And she's seriously getting impatient. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest that you guys tune into that one because we're gonna be covering exactly what she said, as well as who agrees with her, who shares her same views as she has, and of course, who doesn't. So more information on that in just a bit. And finally, I'm gonna give you guys the latest updates on the COVID situation here in the United States. And now the big question is, are we recording more deaths and cases again? Because remember, just the other day, we were actually trending downward. I got the answers to that for you guys that I'm gonna share with you in just a bit. But right now, watch this entire video, stay right where you are. And if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. And you know what? Don't stop there because we're not about being average on this channel. Go ahead and hit the notification bell too while you're at it so that you can be notified as soon as I release new videos and content. But let's jump right into it. So today marks the very first day of Joe Biden's 4-year term as president of this country. And, it's been said that his inaugural speech was one, that aimed to unify a divided country. Now, personally, I think that an objective like that is both noble and an ambitious act. I felt quite a bit of division in this country ever since the campaigns that began during the 2016 election. And of course, we've seen how tensions have reached their climax toward the end of the previous presidential term. And I would love to see some unity back in our country. And so I'm hopeful that we at least have that to look forward to. And a part of me is grateful that this election chapter, of our lives is finally behind us. But hey, if you think I'm the only person that's talking about Biden's agendas being somewhat fierce, then you would be wrong about that one. In fact, several news reports from a few days back have already called his plans very ambitious. And so far, he's kind of proven those reports correct. And right now, we've heard that he signed not one, not two, but actually 17 executive orders in total. I mean, that's quite a bit for the first day, isn't it? And in case you guys are wondering what's included in these 17 agendas, don't worry, I'm going to go over at a high level just to kind of get you guys up to speed. But in my next video, I'm going to share more information about them and what it would mean for our country and for our wallets. All right, so for health and the pandemic response, here's what we got. Biden signed off on a 100 days masking challenge that's asking Americans to wear masks for 100 days. It requires masks and physical distancing in federal buildings, on federal land, and by government contractors, and urges states and local governments to do the same. President Biden also created a new position of COVID-19 response coordinator and signed an executive order appointing Jeffrey Zients as the official COVID-19 response coordinator, who will report directly to him in an effort to aggressively gear up on the nation's response to the pandemic. President Biden also signed an executive order that stops the United States withdrawal from the World Health Organization. With Dr. Anthony Fauci becoming the head of the delegation to the WHO, the order also restores the Directorate for Global Health Security and Biodefense at the National Security Council, which was a group that President Trump had disbanded. Now, aside from the plans on health security and COVID, he also erased some of Trump's actions by reversing President Trump's administration's restrictions on U.S. entry for passport holders, and he undid President Trump's expansion on immigration enforcement within the United States. He also halted the construction of the border wall by terminating the national emergency declaration used to fund it, and it extends deferrals of deportations and work authorizations for liberals, and extends deferrals and deportations and work authorizations for Liberians with a safe haven in the United States until June 30th, 2022. All right, now I've already named 7 out of the 17 first day executive orders that have already been signed off on, and here are the remaining 10. All right, so for the economy, he extends the existing nationwide moratorium on evictions and foreclosures until at least March 31st. So he immediately jumped in there and took care of renters and homeowners. He also extended the existing pause on student loan payments and interest for Americans with federal student loans until at least September 30th. For the environment, he rejoins the Paris Climate Accord, a process that will take 30 days. He also cancels the Keystone XL pipeline and directs agencies to review and reverse more than 100 Trump actions on the environment. For equity, he rescinds the Trump administration's 1776 commission, directs agencies to review their actions to ensure racial equity. Another executive order prevents workplace discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. And on the census, he requires non-citizens to be included in the census and appointment of congressional representatives. On ethics, he requires executive branch appointees to sign an ethics pledge, barring them from acting in personal interest and requiring them to uphold the independence of the Department of Justice. And the last one is on regulation. He directs the OMB director to develop recommendations to modernize regulatory review and undoes Trump's regulatory approval process. But anyway, that is all of them, guys. And of course, we expect to be seeing much more actions from him in the coming days. And, besides these agendas, because I don't know if you can recall, Biden already shared with us an outline of his 3 key goals for him to accomplish within his first 100 days in office. So we're not just talking about this first day here, we're also talking about his first 100 days as president. And by now, we know that the Biden-Harris inauguration is not the only relevant thing that is going to happen this week. So, on Friday would actually mark the deadline for the Georgia Secretary of State to actually certify their election results. And by now, we know that the Biden-Harris inauguration is not the only relevant thing that's going to happen within the week. This Friday would actually mark the deadline for the Georgia Secretary of State to certify their election votes. But as of today, Democrats have officially taken control over the Senate as Georgia's 2 new Democratic senators, which is like the first time in ever, because Georgia is generally a red state for like the last, I think, like 20 years historically they've been red. So the Democratic senators were sworn in just today, just this afternoon, cementing a 50-50 split with Vice President Kamala Harris serving as the tie-breaking vote in her new role as the Vice President of the United States. Now, with these congressional positions secured, what could we expect for Friday, right? All right, well, the Congressional Assembly will be up for a hearing once again, and this time with the Democrats making up the majority. So, of course, the big question is, what does this mean, right? Well, since the Democrats are going to outnumber the Republicans in the Senate, then they have the power to pretty much steer the decision on whatever direction that they want it to go. But of course, there's a catch to this, right? There's always a catch. It's never just, a clean passing, right? They have to stick together in terms of advocating for every proposal that they want the legislative body to pass. So it's kind of like, they have a 50-50 position within the Senate, but all 50 of them have to agree on one particular vote, right? So if one of them votes otherwise, against the party, then they lose their power. So basically, they have to stick together whenever advocating for, every single proposal that they want to pass. And that's the way it's going to have to work for them. So, remember how I was telling you guys that, the only way that the Democrats have power in the Senate is if they all band together and vote as one unit. This is exactly what I meant by that. So now the question is, what are they going to do with that? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see in the weeks to come. All right, so moving on. So if you've been keeping up with the news reports on, stimulus plan and the relief proposal, then you probably already know that various suggestions have already been thrown out to the Biden administration in this past week alone, right? So for example, you've got Senator Ron Wyden's push to increase the unemployment boost to $600. He's arguing that this aid will not stop Americans from getting jobs, but in fact, it will actually help them survive during their jobless days. So, these proposals and these different motions, to revise the content of the stimulus package are primarily focused on how to better help struggling Americans. And of course, to help the struggling economy as well. So, now one recurring name on the reports is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but they're also thinking about the bigger picture. Now, of course, that's definitely something we have to look out for, especially now that we've already used up $4 trillion for pandemic relief bills just last year alone. And technically, it's not even a full 12 months since we started spending that much money. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but I'm just kind of pointing things out, right? But while these suggestions to enhance what's included in Biden's stimulus package are faced with, with disapproving looks from the Republicans, and while these suggestions to enhance what's already included in Biden's stimulus package, they're faced with disapproving looks from the Republicans, it still doesn't stop the economist Janet Yellen from saying that we must, and I quote, act big right now. If we're thinking about our debts, we have to keep in mind that the interest rates right now are lower than they used to be. Now, this is coming directly from Janet Yellen, right? And she said that if this pandemic draws out even longer, if we don't do anything that we can actually act upon right now, then the crisis that we're facing at the moment would actually be risking a long-term scarring of the economy later on. So basically, she's saying, let's nip this in the bud, spend more than we, maybe think or are comfortable with right now versus getting to a point where there's kind of like no turning back, so to speak. Now, this might sound like a bit of a threat, but, believe me, it's not. It's more like an eye-opener, a call to action, if you will. And whether we would literally see urgent actions on this, obviously we don't know yet. It's only day one of Biden being in the White House, but what we do know is that the Democrats agree with Janet Yellen on this. And remember what I told you guys a minute ago, since they make up the majority of the Senate, they only need to stick together in order for them to secure the approval of any proposal that they have. So now we're really about to find out where exactly that would go. And this was a hypothetical situation just a few months back. So it's really interesting to watch this play out. But now that Biden has stepped into his new position, it's going to be really interesting to watch this thing play out. Now, at this point, we might be thinking that we're pretty much halfway through with this crisis. And, maybe we are, right? Hopefully we are. But, in reality, we don't know that for sure. Because, one day we're getting reports that we're, experiencing a dip in the COVID, cases and deaths in the country, right? But then the next we're hitting record highs. So it's not really clear if we're, at the worst. Are we, according to Biden, are we already at the coldest point of this winter, or is it about to, turn to spring? I mean, or is it about to get even colder, right? But what I am saying is that we don't have all the time in the world. Every day we're losing lives and resources due to this pandemic. Like I said, we already spent $4 trillion on this thing, right? And we definitely don't want to wait for another 4,000 deaths like what happened on January 12th, right? And we don't need to see cases go up again like the record 300,000 cases that we hit on January 8th. Like, we don't need any more of that, right? So we got to keep that in mind. It's crunch time right now. Decisions that will prove beneficial to the American people and our country need to be made as soon as possible. But as of now, the stimulus bill hasn't been passed yet, and I truly hope that it will be soon. And of course, I hope that with today's transition in power comes the aid that our nation definitely needs and has been waiting for. But anyway, guys, that is all for the stimulus check update and stimulus package update. It has been a big day, a very big week so far. It's only Wednesday, or technically Wednesday night. You know, it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm up late. Drop me a comment below if you guys are still up. And also, definitely check out the Matter channel. You should see a big M right above me. I've been talking about Matter's amazing channel for the longest. Definitely check out Matter's channel, subscribe to the channel, and watch at least one video to be entered into their next giveaway. And I will see you guys on the next update, hopefully in the next like 8 hours or so. I'm gonna go to bed, wake up, and do this all again, and get you guys up to speed on the latest. I will see you guys